Sup, boys? Ludo here with a huge batch. Huge batch. It's insanely big. This is gonna take a while. Let's get going. Now, I've seen only this part. And on Wowhead, I literally clicked Wowhead. Boom, it said 1 minute ago. I open and all of this is extra. I haven't seen any of this yet. So let's check it out together. As I said, it's gonna take a while. So let's go step by step. We're gonna try to keep it short, but it's gonna take a while. The video we can watch in the end doesn't matter. So new campaign, very good. Continue the story of Zul'Jan as the folk lives from the island of the east coast of Zulaman. Zulaman, very nice, my favorite zone. I like that. Let's go. So the new zone is the Coiled Isle. Okay. Within the mountain of Coiled Isle, new activities. Blah blah blah. Plunge into the vaults of Atal Utek. Okay, whatever that is. While in the zone, players will have access to custom talent tree that will provide different perks of player power, not bad. Along with quality of life perks, X reduce the potency of the venom in the zone. Okay, whatever. As you adventure through the zone, you'll come across curse surges, which will regularly spawn rare elites at 5 rotating locations through the isle. Killing a rare elite unlocks cursed fishing in that location. So for all the fishermen, there you go. So, taking part in these public events will ultimately build up to a boss fight, okay? You'll also discover a local story with a Tortolan sea captain named Toka gained reputation with his crew. Nothing spectacular. Introducing lairs. Ooh, is this something for Diablo-like? Let's see. Lairs are an evolution of on-world boss located in instant encounters with scaling difficulty up to flexible mythic with 15 to 25 players. These will be found in specific locations similar to delves and will come complete with summoning stone outside the lair. Amazing, I like this, very good. The goal is to make easier for players to gather and take on these bosses by encountering them at specific locations where you can choose your difficulty and use the summoning stone to bring the others to you. I like it. Good. New raid, the Venomous Abyss. Ooh, this looks good. Arriving with the start of Midnight Season 2, players will face Ulatek herself in the Venomous Abyss, an ancient powerful creature of hatred, corruption, and venom. Ulatek has been unleashed by Zul'Jan's action. This new raid dungeon will feature 8 new boss encounters. Looks good. I like the team. Thumbs up. Let's go next. This new 3-boss dungeon will be available. Okay, the dungeon is Altar of Fangs. Okay, that's the new dungeon. Delve. Again, very snaky, very venomous patch. I like it. Looks good. Take on 3 new delves. With one of these delves as new Nemesis delve, you will step into the Ring of Glory, Gnarldor Isle, and the Venomfall Deeps Nemesis delve for new rewards. With the start of Midnight Season 2, bountiful delves will become available and players will be able to push into the upper tiers to challenge themselves beyond Tier 7 and face the new Nemesis boss. Very good. Season 2 looking good visually, I like it. 1 week after the content updates goes live, a new season will begin per usual, bring with it a new dungeon rotation for Mythic Plus, a new raid, a new PvP season, more prey, and bountiful delves. Very good. Mythic Plus dungeon rotation, new dungeon, Altar of Fangs, Murder Row, Den of Nulrak, the Blinding Veil, Voidscard Arena, returning dungeons, King's Rest. Ooh, King's Rest. I remember doing this in BFA. I really like this dungeon. Ruby Life Pools and Temple of Cetralis. Okay. Season 2 dungeons will be blah blah blah. Prey. Okay. Season 2 brings about new affixes, new targets, and some new hunts on the Coiled Isle in Prey. Astor also has new voice lines, whatever. Housing. You know me, boys. I'm the biggest housing fan. Blueprints let players save their housing creations to swap between or share them with other players. Wow. Blueprints codes can be shared cross-region, excluding China, with other players for them to import as well. Wow. Blueprints operate on the entire house, both inside and out, the interior only, the exterior only, or a single room. When importing... Okay, I'm done with this. Let's go next. Ooh, this is interesting. Discord. It won't be long before you'll be able to speak with your guildmates both in and out of the game by connecting your Battle.net and Discord accounts to chat with your guild no matter where they are. Ooh, this is crazy nice. Whether you're coordinating your next raid round, looking for more to join your game in PvP, or just hang out in your neighborhoods together, you'll be able to send messages between the two quickly and easy. This new feature will be available to test on the PTR next week. More details can be found. Okay, boys, we'll be implementing into our Discord as soon as it lands. So, hop in. Continue the hunt for Zalata with the Arator, whatever. Dummy Dome on the PTR. Season 2 PTR includes the Dummy Dome, a new test zone full of combat dummies and 50,000 pounds of mud that you can reach by speaking to Nexus Lord. Okay, this is very good. In this high-octane training area, you can initiate fights against 1, 2, 3, 5 dummies that have the same armor as the Season 2 raid bosses. Whose health decreases steadily over 5 minutes encounters for maximum execution accuracy. Very cool. This is cool. This is cool. Good changes. I like it. Very good, Blizzard. Smart. I mean, what can I say? Some of the changes are looking good. Now, the most important part we've been all waiting for. All of this boring part is done. Even though it was solid, I like the changes. Let's get balance changes. Classes. Player health and creature damage has been increased by 25% at the max level. Health consumables values have been adjusted. Okay. So, we've decided to increase player health and enemy damage by 25% for max level players. In Curse, we're going to be lowering throughput for major DPS cooldowns for several specializations and increasing their steady state damage. Thank God it's going to be less burst, more consistent damage. I like that. When damage done during cooldowns is significantly higher than damage outside of the cooldowns, the pacing of combat outside of cooldowns can feel sluggish. Exactly. Our priority is ensuring that cooldowns continue to be high impact and fun. The damage dealt without cooldowns is effective. I agree completely. All class interrupts such as kick, pummel, counterspell will now display a mist visual over the target's head if used while the target was not casting a spell. Very good again. Very good. Good change, Blizzard. These are good changes. What can I say? It will also play a separate sound to represent a mist interrupt. This is intended to help players recognize when enemies or allies have used their interrupt ability, even if a spell was not interrupted. Great. Amazing, especially for PvP. Amazing change, Blizzard. I'm surprised. I'm really surprised. Okay, let's get going. Death Knight Blood. Permafrost grants a shield equal to 50% of the damage dealt was 40%. Voracious grants 15% leech was 12. Russian blood healing increased by 25%. Rapid decomposition increases blood plague healing by 85% was 50%. Singularity burst heals you now for 18% of damage dealt was 15%. Umbellicious Eternus absorbs damage equal to 6 times damage dealt by blood plague was 5 times. Guys, this is a big ass survivability buff to blood across the board. Everything. It's gonna be way more tanky, way more. Frosted, not much, guys, not much. Only Permafrost grants a shield equal to 35% of the damage dealt was 30%. This is not gonna change a thing, unfortunately. Not much. Surprising. I like the blood change, frost change, very bad. Nothing happened. Okay. Unholy Decay is gonna be a little longer. We're aiming to smooth the gap between the cooldown and non-cooldown throughput. I like it, finally. Additionally, we're taking a look at current summon density of Unholy Death Knight. For its rework in Midnight, Unholy Death Knight was reimagined as a summoner. I agree. We were very happy how it landed, however, combined with the previous summoning powers from the Rider of Apocalypse, the amount of summons are exceeding the number we are comfortable with. It is paramount for us to provide a clear game space for our players, and okay. Reanimation renamed to Lord of the Dead, and its secondary effect has been redesigned. When you control 3 Magus of the Dead, sacrifice them to summon their Lord of the Dead for 15 seconds. Okay, sounds cool. Casting frostballs that chain between 2 enemies. Magus with higher remaining duration grants increased power. Okay. Apex Talent, Forbidden Knowledge, rank 3 has been updated. Magus of the Dead no longer grants stacking damage to the Necrotic Coil and Graveyard. The effectiveness of Purifier activated by the Dread Plague has been increased to 100% from 60%. Ooh, okay. Soul Reaper has been updated. No longer consumes charges of Putrefy to cast. Now consumes up to 3 lesser ghoul stacks to summon them instantly. Okay. Honestly, I like it. I like it. Unholy Aura has been updated. Magus of the Dead now grants the haste buff on spawn for 15 seconds. Nice as well. Army of the Dead has been updated. Summon or empower lesser ghouls to form an unholy armor of 8 for 30 seconds. While active, you command your army through Scourge Strike, executing orders based on the nearby enemies instead of summoning lesser ghouls. Again, I like it. That order, lesser ghouls strike with you, dealing shadow damage to your target. Epidemic order, lesser ghouls erupt in viscera, dealing shadow damage to nearby enemies, dealing reduced damage beyond 5 targets. Menacing Magus has now an additional effect. Your Lord of Dead Frostballs now chained to 3 additional enemies. Okay, this is not going to be good for PvP, but for PvE it's going to be good. Lesser Ghouls damage increased by 10%. Cool. Army of the Dead Lesser Ghoul damage reduced by 20%. Necrotic Cold damage increased by 20%. Graveyard damage increased by 20%. Commander of the Dead now causes Dark Transform to increase the damage of your summoned creatures by 10/20 for 30 seconds. Down from 15/30%. Okay. Ruptured Viscera now deals damage reduced beyond 5 targets. Okay. Players other than Death Knight can now only see up to 3 lesser ghouls at a time. Wow, very good for clutter on the screen. Good, good, good. Permafrost grants a shield equal to 35% of damage instead of 30%. So all in all, a lot of changes, but in my opinion, good changes. Okay. Now the numbers are not here. We can't say it's gonna be broken, it's gonna be, you know, shit. The numbers are not here. We will see. But that can be tuned. But, you know, logically, it makes more sense, you know. So I like the change. More consistent damage. Definitely. And that's how it should be played on Holy Decay. Okay. Demon Hunters can now equip daggers. What? This will allow Devoured Demon Hunters to acquire and use daggers with intelligence on them. Okay. Not a big fan of that, honestly, but whatever. Developer, we are reducing the scaling of Devourer's mastery. Ooh, monster within to help other stats to compete and compensating with an overall ability damage buff. Between that and a few more targeted changes, we expect damage during Void Metamorphosis to be slightly reduced, while damage outside to be increased. Mastery has been updated. Bonus damage during Void Meta reduced by 66%? God damn! Yo, Mastery is ass. What the hell? This is too much now. Now this is too much, I think. It's a bit too much. Come on. All ability damage increased by 20%. Okay. I mean, honestly, even outside of meta, the damage is decent. In meta, it's insane, true. But Void Meta now increases Void Ray damage by 40% instead of 67%. Ooh, okay. Impending Apocalypse now causes each collapsing star to grant 20% increased damage to the next one instead of 30%. Another nerf. Consume damage increased by 60%, but not Devour. Okay, so big buffs to the outside form. So honestly, looking at this, it won't be such a huge difference in and outside of the form, which doesn't make that much sense. But okay, in my opinion, for dev specifically, it shouldn't be a huge gap as it is currently, but it shouldn't be this little gap either, in my opinion, okay? Should be something in between. So, not really happy with these changes personally. Havoc. Demon Blades, Blade Dance, and Chaos Rock now require equipped Warglaives, axes, swords, and fist weapons, okay? New talent, Never Say Die. Damage increased by 3% while above 50%. Leech increased by 5% while below 50%. Okay, Dash of Chaos has been removed. I'm not really sure what Dash of Chaos is. It's a shit spell, I'm gonna tell you that, okay? So, good it got lost. This is definitely better, okay? Vengeance. Fracture, Soul Cleave now require equipped Warglaves, axes, swords, and face weapons. Charred Warblades heals you for 5% of fire damage instead of 4. Soulcleave healing increased by 25%. Fell Devastation healing increased by 25%. Frailty causes you to heal 10% of damage dealt to afflicted targets. Was 8%. Feast of Souls healing increased by 25%. Revel in Pain causes 6 of your fire damage to shield you. Was 5%. Again, across the board, very good buffs to self-healing. That's it for the Demon Hunter. Nothing special. Havoc, I like this. But outside of that, whatever. Druid. Mudded Fur absorb increase by 25%. So this is for all the specs. Very nice. Heart of the Wild empowered wild growth increased by 25% healing. Okay. For the Boomy. What do we have for the Boomy? Our goal for balance is to emphasize its core gameplay of building and spending and pooling astral power. In Midnight Balance had high astral power generation and had a lot of free spender procs, which meant there weren't many GCDs left after casting spenders. In Curse, we have reduced astral generation and the number of free spenders, but increased the damage each spender does. Okay, makes sense, I agree. New passive, learned at level 42, Stellar Protection. If Moonfire and Sunfire are dispelled, Stellar Flare is applied to the target. Generates 12 astral power. Okay. Umbral Intensity has been updated. Now increases Wrath and Starfire damage by 10% at all times. Okay. Astral Smolder damage reduced to 10%/20% of the critical strike damage was 12/24, and its duration is increased to 8 from 6 seconds. So in my opinion, this is a buff. All damage increased by 4%. 4. Star Surge damage increased by 10. Starfall increased by 10. Rejuvenation healing increased by 25. Wild Growth increased by 25. Regrowth healing increased by 25. Celestial Fire increases the damage of Moonfire, Sunfire, and Shooting Stars by 10% from 8%. Orbit Breaker effectiveness reduced to 50% from 60%. Touch of the Cosmos chance to trigger from Wrath reduced to 12 from 15%, and chance to trigger from Starfire reduced to 15 from 20%. Okay. Total Eclipse chance to trigger increased to 15/30% from 10/20. This is a big increase, 50%. Okay. Sculpt the Stars and Astral Community have swapped positions in the talent tree. Sculpt the Star reduces Eclipse cooldown by 3%, was 2 seconds. A counter for Orbit Breaker has been added to show your progress toward casting a full moon. Okay. Can be tracked in Cooldown Manager and manual cancel to reset your Orbit Breaker progress. Oh, okay, interesting. Elun's Chosen. Lunar Calling increased the primary target damage of Starfire by 100%, was 120%. Keeper of the Grove. Bounteous Bloom now extends the duration of Force of Nature treants by 4 seconds instead of adding a 4th treant. Scenarios. Might Haste increased reduced to 6% from 8%. Wow. Potent Enchantment's Haste increased reduced to 6% from 10%. Again, nerf. So, baseline buffs, but hero talent 3 nerfs and some modifiers nerfs, okay? Feral. So all in all, hard to say. These are just numbers, right? Nothing gameplay-wise really changed much. Saber Jaws, damage bonus increased to 60% per point from 50%. Focus Frenzy damage bonus reduced to 15% from 20%. Rip and Tear damage bonus increased to 20% from 15%. Chomp damage increased by 30%. Apex Predator Crowing base chance to trigger reduced to 4% from 5%. Rejuvenation healing increased by 25, Wild Growth by 25, Regrowth by 25. So they want the Chomp to be stronger for players who enjoy it, and we're adjusting some other talents to get their power closer and open up more build options. Honestly, not much for Feral. I mean, these are stuff like Chomp that's not really used much. Restoration. Ooh, rest is good. A lot of. Okay. We're making several quality of life adjustments to Resto Druid in this update with a goal of addressing usability issues with Tranquility, Nature Swiftness, and Incarnate Tree of Life. We're also making a few adjustments to Swift Movement to bring back some of its power and as a punchy single target heal. Oh, okay. I like that. New talent, Overgrowth. Nature Swiftness causes your next regrowth to apply Life Bloom, Rejuvenation, and Wild Growth Heal Overtime effect to an ally. Amazing. This is very cool. I like it. New talent, Flash of Clarity. Omen of Clarity increases regrowth healing by 40%. Now available where cultivation previously was in the talent tree. Cultivation, is now available below Flash of Clarity in the talent tree. Okay. Iterate has been redesigned. Now regenerates 25% of the target's maximum mana over 8 seconds rather than causing spells to be free for 8 seconds. Again, I really like this. Very nice. Good. Well done on the rest of 4 now, in my opinion. Abundance has been redesigned. While you have at least 5 rejuvenations active, regrow critical chances increased by 50%, and its mana cost is reduced by 50%. Crazy. Tranquility has been updated. Now grows protective roots at your feet, absorbing damage equal to 60% of your health and preventing knockbacks. Okay. Interesting. Tree of Life has been updated. Now casts regrowth on up to 3 nearby allies when you instantly shapeshift. This man has been updated. Healing increased by 40% of the consumed heal over time effects. Very good. Its heal effects now trigger when you press Swiftmend for the Everbloom Apex talent. Verdant Infusion has been updated. No longer extends heal over time effects. Germination has been updated. No longer increases rejuvenation duration by 2 seconds. Ysera Gift has been updated. If its healing would overheal the druid, the overhealing amount is instead transferred to a nearby ally. Okay. All spell and ability healing increased by 6%. Wild Growth healing increased by 20%. Wild Growth mana cost increased by 15%. Verdancy healing increased by 40%. Rejuvenation mana cost reduced by 10%. Regrowth mana cost reduced by 10%. Life Bloom mana cost reduced by 20%. Interesting. Passing Season reduces Nature Swiftness cooldown by 15% instead of 12. Symbiotic Relationship now highlights itself on the action bar while it's not active. Germination and Verdancy have swapped positions in Talent Tree. Nature Splendor has been removed. All in all, I like it. Very nice, very good. For the Guardian, Gory Fur has been redesigned. Iron Fur has a chance to make your next Maul, Raise, or Ravage free. Maul, Raise, or Ravage have a chance to make your next Iron Fur free. Okay. Apex Talent has been redesigned. Spending Rage has a chance to awaken Guardian Spirit for 8 seconds, which attacks a nearby enemy and generates 3 Rage when you cast Trash or Mangle. Rank 2, Mangle and Maul deal 20/40% additional nature damage over 12 seconds. Your mastery is increased by 3/6%. Rank 3, when a spirit is awakened, the cooldown of Trash, Mangle are reset. After casting Berserk of Incarnation, Guardian Ursa, gain 2 charges of Wild Guardian. Wild Guardian, your next cast of Maul is guaranteed to awaken a spirit. Okay. So it's been redesigned completely. Brambles Absorb increased by 25%. After the Wildfire Healing increased by 25%. Ursic Fury grants an Absorb for 35% of the Trash and Maul damage, was 30%. A Lunar Favor heals you for 18% of arcane damage, was 15%. Lunar Beam healing increased by 25%. Lunation reduces a Lunar Beam cooldown by 20 seconds, was 3 seconds per arcane ability. Okay. Boundless Moonlight Lunar Beam now causes you to leech 12% of the damage dealt to affected enemies, was 10%. So again, survivability across the board, same as every tank. Apex Talent redesigned. Honestly, I like it. Even though it was broken at the start of the Midnight, the Apex Talent for Guardian, you know, they nerfed it multiple times, and this just seems more interesting in my opinion. But okay, Evoker, Augmentation. Augmentation. The additional stopping power created by duplicate cast upheavals was more warping to dungeon gameplay than desired, and could be frustrating in some situations due to uncontrolled timing. Well, for dungeons, true. For PvP, not really. Kinda dead. Spec, right? Apex Talent. Duplicate upheaval cast by your duplicate no longer knock enemies into air. Fair. Living Flame healing increased by 25%. Verdant Embrace healing increased by 25%. Emerald Blossom healing increased by 25%. Okay, whatever. Chrono Warden, double time has been updated. The additional stats granted when Ebon Might critically strikes now last 15 seconds. Modified by Mastery, Time Walker. Double time functionality with precedence is unchanged. Okay. Devastation, that's it for the augmentation. Nothing much, guys, nothing much. Was expecting more. Devastation. Devastation Epic's talents, while powerful, hasn't been as gameplay affecting as we had hoped. We redesigned rank 3 effect to override Dragon Rage with a limited number of uses of a new powerful spell, Unbound Flame. Once Dragon Rage is over, additional Rising Fury and Recent Fury have been streamlined into one buff effect. Okay. So, Rising Fury has been redesigned. When Dragon Rage ends, Rising Fury persists for 4 seconds per stack, and Dragon Rage becomes Unbound Flame. Unbound Flame may be cast 4 times before Dragon Rage finishes its cooldown. Unbound Flame. Exhale Destructive Flame, critically striking for fire damage to your target and nearby enemies. Damage reduced by beyond 5 targets. Causes 1 Essence Burst, instant cast, and 25-yard range. So I like that it's an instant cast. Doesn't sound bad, so sounds interesting. I like it. Tyranny has been updated. Now interacts with Unbound Flame, causing Unbound Flame to always gain the maximum benefit of Mastery. Ooh, regardless. Okay. Okay. Rising Fury has been removed. Living Flame healing increased by 25%. Verdant Embrace the same. Emerald Blossom the same. Okay. Press Evoker. The bane of the season. So, let's check what do we have here. Merita's Blessing has been updated. Now increases all healing of Dream Bread by 60% from 250%. And previously applied only to its instant healing. Okay, I see. Font of Magic has been updated. Now also reduces the empower time of Dream Bread and Fire Bread by 20%. Okay, this is interesting. This is decent. It's gonna cast quicker. Dream Bread instant healing reduced by 50%. Dream Bread periodic healing increased by 118%. Temporal barrier absorption increased by 30%. Okay, so the instant heal that's gonna top the whole team won't be as OP as before, but the hot on it is gonna be very strong. Okay, so we'll see the numbers, but I think it's a fair change because it was kind of like a lay on hands for a whole team, you know. Okay, Hunter, ranged auto shot damage increased by 600%. What the hell? Hunter mark can now be applied up to 5 targets from 1. This is crazy. This is crazy, actually. Okay. Dark Ranger, Bleak Arrow damage increased by 300%. Withering Fire, Black Arrow damage reduced by 40%. Beast Mastery. Heart of the Pack renamed to Razor Sharp and has been redesigned. Increases the damage of your pet's bite, claw, and smack by 100%. Okay. Piercing Fangs has been redesigned. Kill command critical damage increased by 15%. Yikes. Bloody Frenzy has been updated. Now reduces barbed shot periodic rate increased by 33% from 50%. Ah. Okay. This is gonna reduce the burst, that's for sure. Kill Cleave has been updated. Kill command now only cleaves 20% of its damage. During Beast Cleave was 40%. Again, they are nerfing the Bishop Rat. Right? Barb shot damage increased by 25%. Then, buffing outside of the cooldowns, right? Kill command damage increased by 20%. Cobra shot damage increased by 20%. Beast Cleave duration increased to 10% from 8 seconds. Dark Beast summons can now be tracked on cooldown manage. Wild Instincts has been removed. So, Bishop Rat nerfed outside of the Bishop Rat buffed. Very simple. In my opinion, I like it because a BM shouldn't be a burst class. Let's be real. It shouldn't be a burst class. It's a pressure class. And it should stay that way. Okay. Marksman, last round of changes reintroduced Explosive Shot as a button. Players can opt into it, but it didn't flow well with how the spec was playing in Midnight Season 2. We are making changes to Explosive Shot design and some of its supporting talents. Okay. Unstable trigger. Explosive Shot can be used a second time if used within 3 seconds. Explosive Shot incorporates any remaining damage from previous Explosive Shot on your target. Oh. What? Okay. Explosive Shot has been redesigned. Fire an explosive shot at your target. Every 1 second for 3 seconds, the target explodes, dealing fire damage to all enemies within 8 yards. Damage reduced by beyond 5 targets. We're pivoting to design of explosive shot quite a bit to attempt to find a stronger identity. The changes to the core explosive shot as well as explosive shot related talents should give it a distinct feel to play with compared to your other main abilities. Visuals have been updated. Tooltip has been updated. Precision detonation has been redesigned. Explosive shot lasts for 1 additional second. So 4 explosions. Sharpened shot renamed to incendiary ammunition hand has been redesigned. Explosive shot cooldown is reduced by 10 seconds. Okay. Unstable trigger and ammunition are choice nodes. Apex talent take aim rank 2 has been redesigned. Your crit strike damage is increased by 5/10%. And your ranged abilities deal 3/6% increased damage. Apex talent rank 3 has been updated. Spotter mark now increases the damage of your next aim shot and rapid fire against the target was aim shot only. The previous version of marksmanship Apex puts too much emphasis on your aim shot and its critical damage modifiers. This new version should be better interact with more of your specialization abilities. Now increases the damage of your next aim shot and rapid fire against the target. Okay. Interesting. Bulletstorm has been redesigned. Rapid fire now increases the damage of your next aim shot by 20%. Okay. Incendiary ammunition renamed to accuracy by volume and has been redesigned. Bulletstorm now affects your next 2 aim shots. Good. Dead blow has been updated. Aimed shot now has a chance to cause your next aim shot to grant the dead blow effect. Whatever. Aspect of the hitter has been redesigned. Arcane shot no longer cleaves. Good. Aim shot increased damage by 20%, rapid fire by 20%, arcane shot damage increased by 20%, multi-shot damage increased by 20%, kill shot damage increased by 20%. So everything across the board. Eagle accuracy is now 1 point talent that increases the damage of aim shot by 5%, was 10%, and rapid fire by 10%, was 20%. Fine. Focused aim now reduces the cooldown of aim shot by 1 second instead of 2 seconds. Ooh, this is a bad talent now, kinda, I would say. It's an issue that caused death blow to not trigger at the expected rates when casting aim shot. Aim shot has a new icon. Some talents have changed locations in the second gate of the talent to make explosive shot more easily obtained. Detonation scanning talent nose has been moved and is no longer required pathing to reach through shot. Okay. Small game hunter is now a 2 points talent. Values unchanged. Following talents have been removed. Double tap. No way. Headshot. Yo, what the hell? Hero talents. Dark Ranger. Through the Eyes has been redesigned. Increases the damage of kill shot and Black Arrow by 10%. Black Arrow no longer highlights itself when it is able to be used against the target. What? Why? Why? Black Arrow direct damage reduced by 40%. Ebon Bowstring now causes Black Arrow to have chance to cause your next aim shot to grant the dead blow effect. Dark minion summons can now be tracked on the cooldown manager. Sentinel. Moon Blessing now only causes 1 second of cooldown reduction to aim shot was 2 seconds. Guys, Beast Mastery I think I like. Marksman again I don't like. I think they're lost with the Marksman. Just return the War Within Season 3, that's it. That's it. I mean, Explosive Shot is kinda interesting, I guess, but removing double tap, I hate it. I hate it, honestly. I hate removing double tap. Just bring back the War Within Season 3. I mean, that was peak Marksman. Just bring it back. Like, forget about all of this, just bring it back and adjust the numbers. That's it. That was beautiful, smooth, enjoyable gameplay. This is, I don't know. Why? I don't know. Survival. Razor Edge, Raptor Strike, Raptor Swipe, and Kill Command gain 10% increased critical strike chance and 10% increased damage dealt. Primal Search has been moved up to an easier to access location in the talent tree. We're hoping that that making this talent easier to obtain should open up more talent to build a variety. Shower of Blood has been removed. Hero talents. Sentinel. Lethal Barbs has been updated. Auto attacks now have a very high chance to generate 3 focus rather than granting 1 focus per auto attack. Okay. Scout Vigil no longer increases stealth detection radius while using camouflage. So all in all, Hunter, mixed feelings. Mage. You're making... Oh. We need to read this carefully. Like, we need to read this very carefully. We're making some adjustment to mage defenses with the goal of improving mage survivability as a whole and slightly reducing the power of glacial war. I mean, this must be PvE only, I'm hoping, right? If they increase the survivability in PvP, I'm gonna flip out. New talent, improved warding. Damage taken from area effect, damage reduced by 4%. Okay. Improved prismatic barrier has been updated. Now grants an additional charge of prismatic barrier in addition to its previous bonuses. Okay. Temporal realignment has been updated. Now immediately heals 20% of your health and heals an additional 30% over 6 seconds. Unbelievable, actually. Actually unbelievable. Spellfrost Teachings tooltip has been adjusted, whatever. Sun Fury. We're redesigning to lean into making your 3 orbs better rather than giving you 5 orbs, to align more closely with the inspiration for Sun Fury and reduce visual clutter on your character. We're also uncapping Mana Cascade to match other applications may overlap effects. Rondomancy has been redesigned. Your chance to generate a Spellfire Sphere is increased by 6/12%. In Spellfire Spheres grant an additional 1% damage. Ashes of Inspiration has been redesigned. Each time your Phoenix casts a spell, gain 1 stack of Mana Cascade. Exceptional spells grant 1 additional stack. Memory of Alar has been updated. Combustion and Arcane Surge no longer cause mage to gain twice as many stacks of Mana Cascade. Okay. Good. Spellfire Spheres orb generation chances reduced to 6% for Arcane and 12% for Fire Mages. It was 12 and 25%. Mana Cascade no longer has a cap. Mana Cascade is now also gained when the mage casts Arcane Pulse or Prismatic Bolt. Fixed an issue for Arcane Mage that caused Mana Cascade to be gained from unintended spells. So Arcane needs help, okay? I'm fine with that. Prismatic Bolt. Arcane Barrage has a 1% chance per Arcane Salvo stack consumed to trigger Prismatic Bolt. Prismatic Bolt devastates the target with overwhelming energy, dealing arcane damage to your target and reduced arcane damage to nearby enemies. Damage reduced beyond 5 targets. Generates 4 arcane charges. Ooh. Not affected by arcane blast, talents, or effects, and does not scale its damage or mana with arcane charges. Okay. Prismatic Bolt for rank 2 has a 50/100% chance to grant clear casting. Arcane Missiles damage increased by 15/30%. Ooh, nice. Arcane Salvo grants an additional 1% chance to trigger Prismatic Bolt. Arcane Barrage damage increased by 15%. Decent, I would say, decent. Arcane Pulse has been redesigned. Cast time reduced to 2 seconds from 2.25. Radius increased to 8 yards, was 2 yards. Ooh, okay. Now has a 15-second cooldown, generates 1 arcane charge and for each enemy struck, and costs 10% of base mana. No longer has its cast time, radius, mana cost, or cast speed affected by arcane charges. Expanded Mind has been updated. Casting Prismatic Bolt now grants 4 stacks of Arcane Salvo. Impetus no longer affects Arcane Pulse. Prodigious Savant no longer affects Arcane Pulse. Touch of Archmage has been removed. I like it, personally. I like it. Let's see Fire Mage, my favorite. Our goal with these changes is to shift the relative value of fire state damage versus combustion window burst. It is important that the time spent outside of combustion remains meaningful and impactful to your overall performance. Pyroblast damage increased by 15%. Flamestruck damage increased by 15%. Okay. Apex Talent Fired Up now grants 2% increased fire damage for 8 seconds, was 4% for 12 seconds. Now increases fire damage by 5/10%, was 3/6%, the rank 2, and the rank 3 chance to occur during combustion has been slightly reduced. Okay. Frost. Glacial Burrock has been updated. No longer grants an additional charge of Ice Barrier. Thank the lords, about damn time. All damage increased by 4%. Crazy, 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 crazy. Unbelievable. More damage to the Frost. Hand of Frost, rank 2, now grants 0.5/1% increased spell damage was 1 slash... Okay, 2%. So this is fine, I guess. It's fine. I'm hoping for some PvP changes as well, because this is not enough for PvPM specifically. Monk. Chi transform now causes touch of death to heal you for 60% of the damage it deals was 50%, whatever. Vigorous expulsion increases expel harm healing by 6% was 5%, whatever. Brewmaster stagger reduction from staggering strikes increased by 25%. Spirit of the Ox chance to generate a healing sphere increased by 20%. Celestial Brew and Celestial Infusion absorb increased by 25%. Awakening Spirit's maximum absorb value increased by 25%. Vital Flame heals for 50% of the fire or nature damage dealt was 40%. The following buffs are now tracked in the cooldown manager. Okay, so again, every tank, the same story, just general survivability, absorption, healings, ATC, right? Miss Fury, this could be interesting. New talent, Vital Expenditure. Soothing Mist healing increased by 300%, but its mana cost increased by 200%. Choice Note with Dancing Mist, I like this. 4D channeling build, I love this, very interesting. All healing reduced by 3%. Mastery, Gust of Mist healing increased by 50%. Spinning kick damage decreased by 15%. Way of the Crane now transfers 280% of the damage done instead of 340% of the damage done. Now, this is big for PvP, especially playing against Beastmaster and Holy DK. This is very, very big, huge actually. Jade Fire Teachings now increases the Ancient Teachings transfer amount by 320% instead of 270. So they're just offsetting it with the Jade Fire Teachings. Interesting. I don't know. Maybe we'll have some PvP notes. Windwalker. We are making a few adjustments to Windwalker's damage profile to reduce the gap between their steady state damage and high-end burst capability. The melee auto attack damage increased by 30%. Melee auto attack. Come on, guys. Come on. Zenith Stomp damage reduced by 30%. Fine. Blackout Kick damage increased by 50%. Very nice. Target Palm increased by 200%. Dual Threads damage increased by 30%. Weapon of Wind now increases damage during Zenith by 5 instead of 10%. Tiger Eye Brew now increases critical strike damage by 5/10% from 10/20%. Huge nerf to the burst. Huge nerfs to the burst. Guys, I don't know. The burst is kind of gone. The burst is kind of gone. Like this is big. Okay. Vivify healing increased by 25%. Hero talents. Conduit of the Celestial. Celestial conduit damage reduced by 25%. Temple Training increases the damage of Fist and Fury and Spinning Crane Kick by 30% instead of 10%. Okay, this is a nice buff. I ain't gonna lie. But this is whatever. But the burst nerf is kind of big. I ain't gonna lie, boys. It's kind of big. Okay. Paladin. Golden Path healing increased by 25%. I don't even know what it is, honestly. Lightforge Blessing healing increased by 25%. Brought to Light healing increased by 25%. Okay. Some healings are increased. I mean, I play Paladin. I have no idea what this is. Sorry. Lightsmith. Rite of Adjuration healing increased by 25%. Okay. Fine. Protection. With these changes, we are tending to reduce the opportunity cost associated with taking Sentinel and broadening the suite of defensive talent options. We are also transferring some power out of strong cooldown windows into baseline throughput. So, per usual. Word of Glory can no longer critically strike, but its healing is increased by your critical strike chance, and 80% of its overhealing down to you instead shrouds in the light granting absorb shield. Makes sense. Improved Ardent Defender has been redesigned. Now increases maximum HP by 20% while active and no longer cancels remaining duration if fatal damage is sustained. Blessed Hammer reduces enemy damage dealt to you by 10% for 8 seconds. Okay. Masterwork has been updated. After casting a Holy Armament, your next 3 casts of Hammer of the Righteous / Blessed Hammer / Crusader Strike bestow a lesser armament of the same kind of a nearby ally. Judgment damage increased by 100%. Wow. Consecration damage increased by 100%. Shield of Righteous damage increased by 150%. Hammer of the Righteous primary damage increased by 50%. Avenging Wrath increases damage and healing done by 10% and critical strike by 10%. Interesting. Avenger shield damage increased by 30%, lesser weapon damage increased by 50%, hammer of light damage reduced by 33%, Empyrean hammer reduced by 33%, big. Divine exaction, divine toll effectiveness reduced to 80% from 150. This is big, again. Another big nerf to the burst. Sentinel duration increased to 20%. Undying Embers heals you for 125% of the damage dealt by refining fire, was 100%. Bulwark of the Order absorb increased to 75%. Avenger shield damage was 60%. Solace causes consecration to heal you for 375% of the damage it deals, was 300%. Sacred Weapon and Holy Bulwark extend their duration when reapplied by same caster. Glory of the Vanguard now deals damage as a percentage of the Avenger Shield initial damage. Sentinel has been moved and now inherits Avenging Wrath critical strike bonus. Sanctified Wrath has been removed. So all in all, seems like Proto Paladin is going for the support again, rather than bursty support. Now it seems like it's gonna just be support tank. Okay. Like if you guys played this season PvP, you know it was very bursty, especially at the start. Now it's just bursty support. Now here it seems just support. Okay. So Red Paladin. In addition to addressing the throughput spikes during cooldown windows, with Curse of Ulatek, we are aiming to smooth out the rotation by reducing the pressure on consuming Art of War, Righteous Cause effects. Alongside these changes, we are also removing some interactions with the Sky Fury buff that deeply impacts the rotation and Holy Power economy. We believe this is a healthier direction for Retribution Paladin that will allow for more choice and player agency. Apex Talent Light Within, rank 1, now has been an additional effect. Art of War and Righteous Cause can now each accumulate an additional time. This is good. This is very good. Art of War has been updated. Now increases Blade of Justice damage by 80% instead of 150%. Ooh, big nerf to the damage. Blade of Justice damage increased by 40%. Final Verdict damage increased by 15%. Divine Storm by 15%. Avenging Wrath now increases damage done in critical strike chance by 15% instead of 20%. Nerf. Templar Strike damage increased by 50%, Templar Slash by 50%, Judgment damage increased by 50%, Hammer of Wrath damage increased by 50%, Divine Toll Judgment now deals 50% increased damage, was 100% increased damage. Apex Talent Light Within, rank 3, damage reduced by 25%, Flash of Light Healing increased by 25%, Word of Glory increased by 25%, Eternal Flame increased by 25%. Art of War no longer activates from additional Sky Fury attacks. Additional Sky Fury attacks no longer generates holy power when talented into Crusading Strikes. Crusading Strike now increase auto attack speed by 15%, was decreasing from 20%. Execution Senses area of effect radius increased to 10 yards from the 8 yards. Now, big nerfs to the burst, but big buffs to the consistent damage. Wow, interesting. Interesting. Hero Talents, Templar. Hammer of the Light damage reduced by 30%, does not affect PvP combat. Hammer of Light now costs 3 holy power, was 5. This is huge. Templar is back. Templar is back. Wow. Priest. Discipline. Our changes are aimed at reducing the spec's reliance on procs for effective healing, improving sources of consistent damage, and improving hero talent balance. We felt the spec was too reliant on Shadow Man and Void Shields for proc for effective healing, so we are updating Shadow Man to be passive upgrade to Flash Heal and adding a deterministic way to gain access to Void Shield. Additionally, Smite contributes to a low amount of damage despite being frequently cast, so we are increasing its damage and updating the talent tree. New talent, Grim Deliverance. Shadow Man heals for 30% more and applies Atonement for an additional 4 seconds, but its cast time is increased by 0.5 seconds. Shadow Man's chance to trigger is no longer based on Shadow Word pain damage and has been redesigned to a passive upgrade. Flash Heal is upgraded to Shadow Man, a stronger heal with higher mana cost. Master of the Darkness has been redesigned. Mind Blast now upgrades your next power, Word Shield to Void Shield. Void Shield's chance to trigger from Penance reduced to 25% from 33%. Master of the Darkness rank 3 has been updated. Void Shield now reflects 15% of damage taken instead of 25% of damage taken. Okay. This is a big nerf. Master of the Darkness now accumulate up to 2 charges. Flash Shield increased by 25%, Smite damage increased by 40%, nice. Inescapable Torment reduced by 30%. Penance no longer applies Atonement when cast on ally. We updated Penance to apply Atonement going into mid, but have felt this has been not playing well as it causes too much friction between casting Penance on allies that need healing, allies that need Atonement, and enemies you want to deal damage to. Greater Smite is now a 1-point talent. Wow, that's a weird change, honestly. Oracle. Unfolding Vision has been redesigned. When Power Wall Shield or Void Shield expires with Absorption remaining, it jumps to a nearby injured ally instead. Can only happen once per shield. Pretty decent, actually. Void Veer. Void Blast damage increased by 25%. Void Wrath damage increased by 30%. Void Infusion now increases the Torment healing from Void Blast and Penance by 75%, while Entropic Rift is active instead of 50%. Oh my god, I can't believe this. They're buffing Void Veer? Give me a break, dude. Holy. I need some holy love. Like, holy needs some love. Come on. Let's see. Oh, it's only one. Arcane. Resonant Energy has been slightly redesigned. Creating a halo increases healing done by 2% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. Divine Hymn has been updated. Now additionally grants Guardian Spirit while channeled. What the? This is crazy. This is very good. I like it. I like it. Shadow. Shadow needs some love as well. Let's check it out. For Shadow, we're intending to improve Void Form gameplay and are adding an additional source of multi-target damage to reduce the spec's reliance on Psychic Link in AoE situations. For Void Form, we are updating Void Valley to be a limited use ability that can be used a set number of times during Void Form, which leaves more room in the rotation while giving you the chance to use it as its most opportune moment. We also updated Void Form support talents to have more noticeable effects. So, new talent Shade Burst. Shadow reparations that float over your primary target explode, dealing shadow damage to all enemies within 8 yards, damage reduced by beyond 5 targets. Improved Void Form has been redesigned. Void Form increases your spell damage by additional 5% and grants 2 additional uses of Void Volley. Okay. Ancient Madness has been redesigned. Shadow Word Madness increases your haste during Void Form by 2% and increases its duration by 1.5 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. When Void Form ends, the haste lingers and decays over 10 seconds. That's decent. Void Form now grants 3 uses of Void Volley instead of Void Volley having a cooldown during Void Form. Makes sense, I like it. Power Word Shield Absorb increased by 25%. Phantom Menace has been removed. I don't know what it was. Arcane. Focused Outburst is redesigned. Void Volley deals 50% increased damage and Shadow Word Madness cast during Void Form unleashes a Void Volley at your target. Resonant Energy has been slightly redesigned. Creating a halo increases your spell damage by 2% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 4 times. Okay, good. All in all, not crazy. Nothing crazy. Could have been better. Rogue class. TSLT is now a choice talent. Players may now choose between the existing version, which casts automatically at lower energy in addition to being usable actively, and the new version that must be cast actively. Great, I like this. I like this a lot. I hated TSLT, honestly. I hated it. Trophic Poison now reduces damage dealt by 4% instead of 3%. Trophic Poison duration increased to 60 seconds, was 10 seconds. Okay, doesn't affect PvP. Interesting. Hero Talents, Fate Bound. Deal Fate now has a 60% chance to grant an extra combo point when you steal Fate, was 100%. Assassination, we're making some updates to Assassination energy economy in Curse. We aren't happy with how rank 1 implaceable Apex talent is playing. It's blah 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 blah. New talent, Unstable Toxin, and Venom damage increased by 18%, but its duration is reduced by 2 seconds. Okay. Rank 1 has been updated, and Venom damage increased by 10%, and Venom now restores 2 energy per combo point spent. Internal Bleeding has been updated, now triggers from casting Kidney Stone and Rupture, rather than also being reapplied when coping ruptures with Crimson Tempest, damage increased by 10%. Makes sense. Makes sense. Iron Wire has been updated. Garrote supplied from stealth and during improved Garrote window now silences the target for 5 seconds. Damage reduction behavior unchanged. So this is actually nerf because this was OP. This is super OP. Dashing Scoundrel has been updated, and Venom effect now also increases the critical strike chance of your weapon poison by 10% instead of 5. Your energy generation is increased by 4% for each lethal poison on your weapons. Okay, so if you have 4, you're gonna generate a lot. All damage increased by 3%. Death Marking increases the damage of your Rupture Garrote lethal poison by 75% instead of 100. King Bane damage reduced by 15%. King's Bane was busted. Shrouded Suffocation increases Garrote damage by 30% instead of 20. Avulsion increases Rupture damage by 25% instead of 20. Motivated Murder energy increased to 30% from 20. Rapid Injection damage increases to 20/40% instead of 15/30. Again, buffs. Venomous Wounds generates more energy when multiple targets are affected by your bleeds. Obviously. Blindside chance to trigger reduced to 10% from 15% and 20 when the target is at low health from 30%. So nerf to that. Poison Bomb visual has been adjusted to make other important visual on top of it easier to see. Several talents have changed positions. Deadly Momentum is gone. Outlaw. The changes to Outlaw are intended to improve talent build diversity and flexibility. We increased the power of some underperforming talents and pulled back on some that could feel locked in. Killing spree damage has been increased significantly. Good. Okay, so let's check it out. Improved Between the Eyes has been updated. Causes Between the Eyes critical strike to deal 2.5 times normal damage was 3 times. Okay, this is a nerf. Fast action has been updated. Now reduce the cooldown of Between the Eyes by 8 seconds instead of 5 seconds. Increase the damage bonus from Between the Eyes by 1%. Okay, I like this, honestly. Killing spree damage increased by 60%. Ooh, this is crazy. Nice. Heavy Hitter increases the damage of attacks that generate combo points by 15/30 from 10/20%. Nice. Zero in value per stack reduced to 2% from 3%. This is for the offhand dagger, okay. Hidden Opportunity chance for ambush to grant opportunity increased to 100% from 80% of the chance for Sinister Strike to grant opportunity, okay. New connectors have been added between Ruthless and Finding an Opening, and between the Flickering, Steel, Choice Node, and Grand Melee. Sub-Rogue. Relentless Strikes now generate 4 energy per combo point spent on finishing moves was 5 energy. Shadowcraft no longer stores 1 additional combo point. Frequency bonus from auto attacks increased to 75% from 40%. Energy and combo points generated during cooldown windows has often been overflowing, true. These reductions aim to reduce circumstances of overcapping resources while maintaining potent relative generation in these windows. Lingering Shadows now also applies to Shuriken Storm, okay. Showdown's tooltip has been updated to include its threat reduction effect. Apex Talent. Ancient Art now considers the total damage of Secret Technique when creating a Shadow clone instead of only its initial hit. Fixed an issue that caused Secret Technique damage from secondary hits to be attributed to summoned pets instead of the attacking rogue. So all in all, Outlaw, I like it. It's okay. It's okay. Nothing spectacular, but it's okay. Okay, Shaman Ascendance has a new icon for all 3 specs. Farseer. Chain Lightning now hits up to 5 targets instead of 3. Lava Burst now also increases damage by % equal to your crit strike chance. Nice. Elemental Shaman. Higher burst during Ascendance. Again, nerfing burst, buffing consistent damage per usual. Let's check it out. Power of the Maelstrom has been redesigned. Lightning Bolt and Chain Lightning have 15% chance to cause your next Lava Burst to deal 20% increased damage, stacking up to 2 times. Lava Burst consumes 1 stack at a time. Okay. Stormkeeper has been redesigned. Your next 2 Lightning Bolts become instant and deal 150% increased damage, or your next 2 Chain Lightnings become instant and cause an elemental overload. So, not much change except the Chain Lightning, I guess. Lava Burst damage increased by 30%, Lightning Bolt damage increased by 30%, but not in PvP. Okay. Chain Lightning damage increased by 60%, Flame Shock damage increased by 60%, that's pretty damn good. Tempest Direct damage reduced by 20%, Healing Surge increased by 25%, Earth Shield increased by 25%, Healing Stream Totem increased by 25%. Juicy. Ascendant now increases the damage of Elemental Overload by 30%, down from 75%. What the hell? This is crazy nerf. Bonus, Lava Burst when activating Ascendants are now 50% of the normal value instead of 100%. What? So this is all getting nerfed by half and it's not getting baseline buff in PvP? What the... Like what? How does this make any sense? Molten Red now increases the damage of lava bursts by 10% instead of 50%. Again, nerf. Feedback Loop rank 1 now increases the elemental overload damage by 10%, down from 35, and also increases the elemental damage down by 10%. Feedback Loop rank 2 now grants 15/30% critical damage, down from 25/50. This is crazy nerfs. Like, what? Elemental Blast cast from fusion of elements now only grant 40% of the normal duration of the elemental blast. That buffs was 100%. Like, what is going on with Shaman? Why? Do they hate elemental Shaman this much? What the? I don't get it. What? Fixed an issue that caused the voltaic blaze to not properly affected by elemental fury critical damage bonus. Fixed an issue that caused elemental resonance to not affect periodic elemental damage. Fixed an issue where Apex Sound Feedback Loop rank 2 did not properly increase the critical damage of several elemental shaman spells. I mean, why is this not? They didn't nerf Mage still, they buffed it, and Shaman is getting destroyed in PvP. Destroyed. Like, what the fuck? Why? I just can't believe it. Stormbringer, Supercharge has been redesigned. Lightning Bolt, Chaining Lightning, and Tempest Overload deal 10% additional damage, whatever. Enhancement. Healing Surge, Earth Shield, and Healing Storm Totem healing increased by 25%. Resto. Healing Rain now has a 12-second cooldown and an 8-second duration. Recasting Healing Rain will one is already active will despawn the previous one. The cooldown change does not affect the Surging Totem's Healing Rain from the Totemic Hero talent. Okay. Interesting. Lock. Demonic Gateway is now a utility spell in cooldown manager. Okay. Not much changes for the lock. Hellcaller. We're updating Black and Soul to give Hellcaller a better tool for focusing damage into a priority target. Increase the overall flexibility of the hero talent tree rather than have it only excel in situations where multiple targets are present. However, we are keeping the functionality of Malevolence. So Black and Soul has been redesigned. If the target is afflicted by a Wither, your Chaos Bolt and Shadow Burn increases stack count by 1. Each time Wither gains a stack, it has a chance to collapse, consuming a stack every 1 second to deal Shadow Flame damage to its host until 1 stack remains. Mark of Paratam has been redesigned. Damaging critical strikes by Wither deal 215 damage instead of the usual 200. Damaging critical strikes dealt by Black and Soul deal 225 instead of the usual 200. Okay, decent. Destruction. Conflagration of Chaos has been redesigned. Conflagrate and Shadow Burn have 100% chance to critically strike, and their damage is increased by your critical strike chance. Okay. Conflagration of Chaos has been removed from the cooldown manager. Apex Talent. Embers of Nihilam. Rank 1 has been updated to show player percentage chance of Incinerate evoking an Echo of Sargeras. So, barely any changes. Barely any changes. Last class. Warrior is gonna be big. It's gonna be big. Okay. Rend is an iconic and core warrior ability with a different relationship to each spec. Our approach to Rend in Midnight hasn't worked out as we hoped, so we're making changes to how spec applies and interacts with Rend in Curse of. Please remove Rend. Like, please remove Rend. I hate it. Especially on Fury Warrior. Especially on Fury Warrior. The Rend ability is now exclusive to ARM. Thank you. Thank you. I love it. Finally. It's returned to being a single targeted ability and its rage cost is reduced to 10. Cleave will apply Rend to all targets if the warrior knows. Okay. New talent, Fury, Storm of the Blood. Whirlwind applies Rend to all targets. Crashing Thunder causes Storm of Blood to also apply to Thunderclap for Mountain Tane. So nothing changed. New talent, Protection, Blood and Thunder. Thunderclap applies Rend to all targets. Thunderclap no longer initially applies Rend if known. So you need a talent now for that. Wow, amazing. Javelineer has a new icon. Arms, Ravager has been updated. Ravager damage increased by 50%. Ravager no longer increases Cleave and Whirlwind damage while active. Ravager now causes all enemies damages to take 25% increased damage from your bleeds for 12 seconds. Ravager duration is no longer reduced by haste. Bloodletting has been updated. Your abilities have 5% increased chance to critically strike targets affected by rend. If you know rend, the mortal strike inflicts rend on targets below 35%. Deep wounds last 33% longer. Okay. Well, you kind of need to apply rend, I guess, then. This is pretty OP. Broad strokes have been updated. Closest smash now grants 6 stacks of sweeping strike on use. Stacks of sweeping strikes from the sweeping strike ability and broad strike will stack normally, regardless of the order in which they were used. Interesting. Sweeping strike now displays the number of active sweeping strike charges. Okay, I like this. Good. Pro sweeping strike has been removed. Max execution and overpowering finish are now on a choice node with each other. Battle Lord and Master Tactician have swapped positions in the tree. Interesting. We'll see how that plays out. Colossus. Tide of Battle increases the damage of Overpower and Execute. Was Overpower only. Oh, this is a big buff. This is a big buff. Demolish cooldown reduced to 30 seconds from 45. Yo! This is insane. Dominance of Colossus no longer reduces the cooldown of Demolish. I see. But still, I mean, guys, where's the love for the Slayer? Like, I don't know in PvE how it is, but PvP is Colossus like always. When is it gonna be the Slayer? Like, this is crazy. We're buffing only Colossus. Like, where are the... Look, nothing. Unbelievable. I just can't believe it. This is some agenda. This is some agenda. Fury. Whirlwind has been updated. Whirlwind now generates 3 rage initially. Improved Whirlwind has been updated. No longer causes Whirlwind to generate 3 rage initially, but still increases rage generated by Whirlwind by 1 per target hit, up to 8 total rage. New talent, Carving Blades. Whirlwind deals 50% additional damage when it strikes only a single target. Talent is a choice node with a meat cleaver. Okay. Rampaging Ruin has been redesigned. While improved Whirlwind is active, Rampage Final Strike slams the ground, dealing physical damage to all enemies within 8 yards of your target. The damage reduced beyond 5 targets. This is only AoE stuff. Hack and Slash has been updated. Rampage now has a 75% chance to refund the charge of Raging Blow and increase the damage of your next Raging Blow by 20%. Oh, okay. Maybe it's gonna have some use now, because it was kinda useless in PvP. In PvE, I'm sure it's fine, but in PvP, no. Mountain. Thunder Blast damage increased by 40%. Crashing Thunder increased Thunderclap damage by 10% from 30%. Again, no Slayer, but we're buffing the Thunder Blast. No Slayer buffs. Whatever. Protection. Devastating Focus has been updated. Now increases the revenge and execute damage dealt to the target. Was revenge only. Nice. Nice, because execute is bullshit. Execute is really bad. Bloodborne has been updated. Now increases all bleed damage. Was only rend and deep wounds. Okay. Fueled by Violence heals you for 125% of the bleed damage. Was 110%. Ignore Pain absorb amount increased by 25%. Brutal Vitality adds 10% of the damage dealt to Ignore Pain. Was 8%. Ravager has been updated. Ravager damage increased by 50%. Ravager no longer increases revenge and thunderclap while active. Ravager now causes all enemies it damages to take 25% increased damage from your bleeds for 12 seconds. So this is the same for the arms, right? Ravager duration is no longer reduced by haste. Okay. Colossus. Demolish reduced to 30 seconds from 45. Dominance of the Colossus no longer reduces the cooldown of Demolish. Tide of Battle increases the damage of Revenge and Execute, not only Revenge. So the same again. Thunder Blast damage increased by 40%, the same again. Crashing Thunder increases Thunderclap damage by 10% instead of 30%, the same again. So this is it for the balance changes, boys. Next is class sets. Okay, let's quickly sum up quickly in 2 minutes. What do I like, what do I don't like? I do not like Warrior per usual. They said it well in the beginning, rend should be only arms, but they changed it back. So, I mean, change it back. It's gonna be on Fury as well on Whirlwind. Warlock, nothing much changed, let's be real. Shaman, horrible changes, and again, no rest to Shaman, help. Unbelievable, I just can't believe it. Rogue, Outlaw, I'm fine. I think I'm fine with the rogue, but nothing spectacular. Priest, again, you know, no, not happy with it. Red Paladin, personally I like it. Personally I like it. For the monk, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say because I don't know if the damage is gonna be enough to make it. I prefer a brawler monk, so I'm not really into this one-shot monk that's currently the meta. So to me this is good, but we will see. We will see. We will see. Mage, I'm happy for Arcane. Fire, but Frost Mage getting no nerfs is pissing me off. What else do we have? Hunter completely again. Shit. BM is solid though, in my opinion. BM is solid. Evoker is okay. Evoker is okay. Druid is good. Restoration is good, I think. Demon Hunter, I don't like. Demon Hunter I don't like. DK, I would say I like. We'll see that. Okay, class sets. Let's check that. Ooh, we have player versus player. We have player versus. Should we check that first? Then okay, let's check that first. Let's check that. No. Let's do the item sets. Let's do the item sets. Blood Decay. Your attack speed is increased by 15%, and Crimson Scourge chance to occur is increased by an additional 5%. 4-set bonus Crimson Scourge increases the damage of your next death and decay by 100% and grants 5% critical chance. I mean, whatever. It's not gonna do much for PvP. For PvE, obviously, it's good, right? Frost. Each time Remorseless Winters damages at least one enemy, gain Freezing Tempest, which grants 2% attack speed and 4% increased Icy Death Torrent damage for 5 seconds stacking. 4-set Remorseless Winters deals damage 25% more frequently, and Freezing Tempest lasts 5 seconds longer. So is this gonna include the big PvP Remorseless Winter? Because that's gonna be big. It's gonna be, you know, back in the game maybe. Unholy. Your Magus of the Dead and Lord of the Dead casts are more powerful. Necrotic Bolt instead of Frostbolt, and Withering Grasp instead of Shadow Bolt. 4-set bonus. Necrotic Bolt damage increased by 130%, and Withering Grasp damage increased by 110% against enemies below. Very good execution power against enemies below 35%. Very nice. Unholy Decay looking very good set. Very good set. What about Devourer? Harvesting 4 or more soul fragments with Reap has a 20% chance to cause your next consume to be instant cast and explode in a soul burst, dealing cosmic damage to nearby enemies. How is this gonna work in PvP? But I mean, it's gonna be. It's always instant cast. Like, they didn't even think before doing this. It's always instant cast after Reap. Oh my god, they didn't even think of this. Soul Burst generates 8 soul fragments and grants Moment of Craving. Reap deals 20% increased damage. Boring, terrible in my opinion. Terrible. Havoc. Blade Dance, Chaos Strike, and Essence Break deal 12% increased damage. Obviously good because it's Blade Dance, Chaos Strike. Essence Break now applies and benefits from the effects of Cycle of the Hatred. Has 25% increased initial damage and has 2 seconds of increased duration. I hate Essence Break. I'm not gonna be running Forza, that's for sure, because I hate Essence Break. I hate it. I hate it. The worst spell in the game. Vengeance, Sigil of the Flame. Damage over time is increased by 50%. Soul Cleave increases the duration of Sigil of Flame on your primary take by 2 seconds. 4-set bonus. Simulation Hour and Sigil of Spite deal increased 100% damage against targets afflicted by your Sigil of Flame. Okay, this is for Mythic Plus, obviously. Balance. Star Surge damage increased by 20%. You see, this is very strong. Starfall also deals astral damage instantly to all valid enemies in range when cast. Your damage is increased by 10% while in any eclipse. This bonus wanes 2% at any midpoint of the eclipse, then waxes back to 10% at the end. Interesting. Interesting, actually. A very good set, in my opinion. Feral. 2-set. When Berserk on Incarn ends, you deal 10% increased damage for 1 second for each combo point spent during Berserk or Incarn. Nope. Okay, solid. 4-set Berserker any card lasts 10 seconds longer. Whoa. That's very powerful. Guardian. Trash has 20% chance to make your next mangle deal 100% damage. Whatever. Trash calls up 3 turns, each impaling a target for nature damage and dealing additional nature damage up to 5 nearby enemies and extend duration of Berserk by 0.5 seconds up to 5 seconds. Okay. PV. 2-set bonus. Situation has a 15% chance and Nature Swiftness has 100% chance to grant Genesis, causing all your heal over time effects for 25% for 8 seconds. Multiple applications may overlap. 4-set bonus. Genesis duration is increased by 4 seconds and gaining Genesis grants clear casting. That's good. Obviously. Probably gonna be running it for the clear casting. Solid. Druid, very solid sets. Very solid. Augmentation. Upheaval cooldown is reduced by 10 seconds. Very big for augmentation, I'm gonna lie. Upheaval magnifies your Fate Mirror effect for 8 seconds, increasing the amount of damage equal to 45%. Very looking good for augmentation. Devastation. Bonus shattering star damage is increased by 150% and it always casts as if it had reached maximum power level. Okay. Okay, that's pretty decent. Casualty reduces Casualty reduces the remaining cooldown of your power spells by additional 0.1 seconds each time the effect occurs. Eternal Surge deals 10% increased damage, okay? Solid. 2-set bonus. Consuming Essence Burst sends forth a living flame at your target at 150% effectiveness or at a nearby injured if your primary target is at full health. 4-set. Green spells restore 5% more health and Verdant Embrace has 100% chance to grant Essence Burst. Again, Verdant Embrace, OP, very good. Beast Mastery. 2-set bonus. Barbed Shot causes your pets to stomp 1 additional time at 50% effectiveness. Boring. Stomp causes your next Cobra Shot to either benefit from Beast Cleave at 25%, oh my god, 20% effectiveness or strike your primary target for 30% additional damage, stacking up to 4 times. Whatever. Boring. Marksman. 2-set. Explosive Shot lasts 1 second longer and deals 20% increased damage. 4-set. Aim shot and rapier fire damage increased by 5%. Each time explosive shot causes a burst of damage, the cooldown of aim shot and rapier fire is reduced by 0.5 seconds. This is actually very strong. So we're probably going to be all running explosive shot. 2-set bonus for survival. Raptor strike damage increased by 15%. Mungo strike for 4-set. Also increases the damage of wildfire bomb by 10%. Huh. Mage, Arcane. 2-set bonus, Arcane Missiles fires 1 additional missile and deals 20% increased damage. That's pretty decent. That's pretty strong, actually. Better than the Hunter one. 4-set bonus, each wave of Arcane Missiles increases the damage of your next Arcane Blast, Arcane Pulse, or Prismatic Bolt by 5 up to 40%. Damn, very solid. 2-set for Fire. Pyroclasm causes Flame Strike and Pyroblast to always critical strike. Wow. Pyroclasm reduces the cast time of Flame Strike and Pyroblast by 20% and its damage bonus is increased by 20%. Okay, very strong. Each stack of Freezing Shattered has a 5% chance to generate Icicle. Glacial Spike damage increased by 25%. 2-set. 4-set. Consuming Glacial Spike has a small chance to grant a Glacial Spike. Shattered damage increased by 15%. Nice. Nice for the mage, obviously, per usual. Brewmaster 2-set. Breath of Fire ignites your next Keg Smash, causing it to explode on contact, dealing additional flame strike damage to its primary target and reduce damage to additional targets. 4-set. Ignited Keg Smashes cause enemies struck to take 8% increased damage from your physical abilities and leave a patch of flame on the ground, dealing fire damage each second for 5 seconds. Okay. Again, Mythic Plus. 2-set bonus. Rising Sun Kick deals 30% increased damage and Rushing Wind Kick healing is increased by 100%. Ooh, again. Kicking. Even though we had some shooting, but interesting. Is everyone gonna play Peace Fear? We'll see. Rising Sun Kick and Rushing Wind Kick have a chance to cause their next cast to ignore their cooldown. Ooh, and have their mana cost reduced by 100%. This is huge. Very strong, very insane. 2-set bonus for the Windwalker. Fist of Fury strikes an additional time at the start of its channel at 50% effectiveness. Bullshit. Terrible. Fist of Fury increases the damage of your next Rising Sun Kick by 10% or Spinning Crane Kick by 20% each time it strikes, stacking up to 6 times. That's decent, but 2 set is kind of dumb. Paladin, Holy. Infusion of Light increases the healing of Flash of Light by additional 75% and the absorb from Greater Judgment by additional 75%. Very strong. Judgment has 20% chance to grant Infusion of Light. Holy Light now has a 50% chance to grant Infusion of Light. This is a 4-set bonus, right? So that's it for the Holy. For the Protection, we have Concentration is 30% larger and enemies within concentration are illuminated, increases the chance for your abilities to critically strike them by 5%. Again, Mythic Plus. 4-set. Enemies struck by Judgment or Crusade Strike take additional 20% damage, holy damage. If they are struck by Critical Strike, the additional damage is increased by 200%. Wow, big deal. Red Paladin. Divine Purpose has additional 10% chance to activate and consuming the grants Divine Power, increasing holy damage by 10% for 12 seconds. Very decent. Consuming Divine Purpose with Divine Storm causes your next final verdict to be free. Unleash Divine Arbiter at its targets, dealing holy damage and holy damage to enemies within 8 yards. Well, yeah, well, that's not gonna be used in PvP. Priest, Discipline. Penance damage and healing reduced by 20%. Casting Penance reduces the cooldown of Mind Blaze by 2 seconds. Very good for the Void Weaver. 4-set. After casting Mind Blast, your next Power Wall Shield or Void Shield absorbs 25% more damage. Again, very nice for the Void Weaver. Holy. 2-set. Each target affected by your Renew increases your haste by 2% up to 6. Very good. 4-set. Renew healing increased by 10%. Light's Resurgence now causes a 100% chance to leave a Renew on the first target prayer of mending heals. Very decent. I mean, kind of weak, but just you know, flat stats. Shadow. Tentacle Slam cooldown is reduced by 3 seconds and its damage is increased by 100%. 4-set. After casting Tentacle Slam, your next Vampiric Touch is instant. Ooh. Generates 4 additional Insanity and conjures shadowy apparitions that deal 200% of the normal damage. Interesting. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Rogue. Assassination and Venom damage increased by 10% and increases your damage dealt by 3%. Good. Deadly Poison increases your bleed damage on target by 10%. Auto attack against targets with Amplifying Poison deal 2% increased damage per stack. Wound Poison hits a second time. Yo, this is crazy. Crazy good. Outlaw Dispatch damage increased by 15%. Whatever. Since the Strike and Ambush have 12% chance to cause your next dispatch to be free and deal damage if they spend the maximum combo points. Okay, decent. Sub. 2-set. Bike Stab costs 10 less energy, deals 100% increased damage. Shuriken Storm costs 5 less energy and deals 60% increased damage. Okay. 0 times 100% is again 0. So Lingering Shadows now also benefits Eviscerate and Black Powder at 100% effectiveness. Seems like a 0 set for me on the Sub-Rogue in PvP. Shaman Elemental. Bonus, Earth Shock, Elemental Blast, and Earthquake damage increased by 25%. When Stormkeeper Ascendants fade, your next 2 lightning bolts, Chain Lightnings, or Lava Bursts deal 25% increased damage and cause your next Earthquake Earth Shock to cost 100% less Maelstrom. Very good, actually. Very good. But what I did to the balance changes upstairs, you know, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work, but okay. Enhancement Charm. Attack Blaze causes your primary target to erupt in Fire Nova every 2 seconds for 6 seconds. Fire Nova damage is increased by 200% if it only strikes a single target. Not a big fan of this, but okay. 4-set bonus, Fire Nova reduces the cooldown of Crash Lightning by 2 seconds and decreases the damage of your next Crash Lightning by 8%, stacking out to 5 times. No one's gonna run this in PvP, that's for sure. Restoration, 2-set bonus, Healing Wave and Chain Lightning have a chance to create Healing Rain at the target's location for 10 seconds. That's decent. Every 1 second, one ally inside of Healing Rain gains a water shield that absorbs X damage for 10 seconds. Okay. I don't know how big it is gonna be, but we'll see. Warlock 2-set. You have 20% chance to refund the Soul Shard after spending your Soul Shard. Ooh, this is juicy. This is juicy. 4-set. Each active unstable affliction increases your damage dealt by your spells and abilities by 2%, up to 6%. Okay. Seed of Corruption applies unstable affliction at 50% effectiveness to your target. Decent, decent. Demon Lock. Wild Aim damage increased by 10%. Crazy. Implosion damage increased by 20%. Okay. When their energy depletes, wild imps have 20% chance to fling themselves at their target and implode at 150% effectiveness to their main target and at 125% effectiveness to the other targets. Again, okay, probably this is not gonna be OP, but wild imp damage always comes good. Destruction, incinerate damage increased by 25%. Incinerate has 10% chance to evoke Echo of Sargeras. I mean, this is a good part, but this, who cares? Force set, targets damaged by Echo of Sargeras take 6% increased damage from Echo of Sargeras for 6 seconds. Whatever. Arms, mortal strike damage increased by 10%. And when you slam a target, slam also deals damage to enemies within 8 yards of it. Deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. I mean, we have to take it, mortal strike, obviously. But who cares? Force set bonus. Overpower damage increased by 15%. Mortal strike and overpower increases the damage of your next line by 10%, stacking up to 3 times. I mean, okay. Decent. Fury. Raging Blow damage increased by 15%, and during Recklessness, Raging Blow extends the duration of Recklessness by 2 seconds up to 6 seconds. Nice. Nice. Force set. Blotters damage increased by 10%. During Recklessness, Blotters increases the critical bonus of Recklessness by 5% up to 10%. Okay, I mean 2 set for sure. 4 set maybe. Protection, 2 set. Free Ravages deal 15% additional damage and cause your next shield to deal 20% additional damage. Ravager and your free Ravages cause all targets to bleed for X damage over 12 seconds. Ravager's cooldown is reduced by 30 seconds for the 4 set. Wow, that's a lot. That's a lot. Okay, that's the sets, boys. Now we have items. Let's see what to change here. LFR, normal and heroic raid Great Vault rewards are now awarded the first step of the next harder difficulties upgrade track. For example, all heroic raid Vault will be Mythic 1/6. Okay. Mythic raid Great Vault rewards are now awarded at Mythic 6 out of 6, apart from very rare items and loot from the penultimate and final bosses. Mythic raid very rare items and loot from the penultimate and final bosses will be required at the equivalent of Myth 9, regardless of whether acquiring directly from boss, drop, or for a greater vault. Nebulous Void Cores. Nebulous Void Cores acquired in Season 1 will be converted to gold upon the end of Season 1, and they may no longer be used in Season 1 content. The Void Cores will be available as a Great Vault reward from the start of Season 2. Ornith Straylight has begun learning the basics of viewing Nebulous Void Core from Void Energy and has relocated to near Catalyst in Silvermoon. He will be able to provide 1 additional Void Core per week, starting in 8th week of Season 2. The cost to roll for raid items is reduced from 2 Void Cores to 1. That's good for PB, I guess. As in Season 1, items acquired Void Cores will continue to be equivalent to a Greater Vault reward in the terms of item level. The Catalyst class set armor now inherits the secondary and tertiary stats, as well as certain special cantrips effect of items converted with the Catalyst. Class set armor now inherits the secondary and tertiary stats, as well as certain special cantrip effects. Oh, so because some can have those tertiary, like some pieces can have speed, right? And then if you convert it, you lose that, I guess, right? That's an example, and I'm guessing. Midnight Season 1 Mythic plus 1% Umbral Champion Achievement Mount Umbral Ashes. Wow. Cool. Like it. It's nice. Player versus player, baby. And there we are. Arena Training Grounds. Training grounds have been expanded to include combat against computer-controlled players in Arena. Use Training Grounds sections of Player tab in Group Finder to queue for random arenas up with 2 other players for the activity. This is great. This is great. Decided to reduce the effectiveness of large number of movement speed reductions in PvP. We have found in the past that when players have access to strong snares with a high uptime, there are less opportunities for enemies to use positioning and escape tactics. Thank the Lord. Oh my god, finally. Chains of Ice movement speed slow reduced to 50% from 70%. And feeble movement slow reduced to 20% from 30%. Grip of the Dead movement slow reduced to 60% from 90% in PvP combat. Okay. Okay. Rider of the Apocalypse Chains of 5 Ice movements reduced from 40 to 20%. Trollbane Ice Fury movement slow reduced to 20% from 40%. Frost Blinding Slit movement reduced to 50% from 60%. Blinding Slick secondary slow reduced to 30% from 50%. Unholy Magos of the Dead Frostball movement speed reduced to 30% from 60%. Big nerf. Big nerf. Demon Hunter Felskard Way of Debilation movements reduced to 40% from 60% in PvP combat. This is the hero talent. Choice node. Havoc Master of Glaive movement speed reduced to 30% from 50%. Ooh, this is big as well. Metamorph Days slow reduced to 50% from 70%. Vengeful Retreat movement slow reduced to 50% from 70%. These are big nerfs. Sigil of Chains movement reduced to 50% from 70%. Typhoon movement reduced 30% from 50%. Ursa of Vortex movement reduced to 30% from 50%. Wild Charge Days reduced to 30% from 50%. Thorns movement to 30 from 50. Balance. So, new baseline passive learned at level 42 Stellar Protection. If Moonfire and Sunfire are dispelled, Stellar Flare is applied to the target. Burns the target for 36% spell power, astral damage, then additional 210% spell power over 24 seconds. If dispelled, causes 212 spell power damage to the dispeller and blasts them upwards. This is huge. Huge. Kinda overpowered. I don't know. Bit much. Generates 12 astral power. Fungal Growth movement slow reduced to 30% from 50%. Fairy Swarm movement slow reduced to 20% from 30%. Following PvP talents have been removed. Crescent Burn, Dying Stars. Whatever. Infected Wounds down from 50 to 30%. Restoration. Ancient of Lore PvP talent has returned. Shape shift into Ancient of Lore, preventing all crowd control effects, reducing damage taken by 20%, and granting you access to Blossom Burst and Mass Blooming. That's good. That's a cool talent, guys. That's a cool talent. Reduces movement speed. Blossom Burst heals an ally for 910% of spell power and applies one missing heal overtime effect. If all of them are present, Blossom Burst critical heals. Mass Blooming. Heal 5 allies for 585% of the spell power and applies one missing heal overtime effect. Cool. Cool. Evoker. Unburdened Flight now causes hover to prevent movement speed from being reduced below 100%, rather than granting immunity to movement impairing effects. Okay. Okay. That's pretty strong. You know? It's pretty strong nerf. Feels bad for the evokers, but fair in my opinion. Permanent chill down from 50 to 30% in PvP. Augmentation, Perilous Fate, movement speed down from 70 to 50%. Dreamwalker Embrace, movement speed, slow reduced to from 50% to 30%. Hunter, Tar Trap movement speed, again 50 to 30%. Cold Feet, from 70 to 50%. Concussive Shot from 50 to 30. Huge. Scorpion Venom from 90 to 70%. That's pretty big too. Dark Ranger, Dark Chains from 40 to 30%. Shadow Dagger from 30 to 20%. Pet abilities. Tendon Rip from 50 to 30. So all the pet abilities are from 50 to 30%. Mage, Overpowered Barrier, movements slow reduced from 70 to 50. Blast Wave, movement speed 70 to 50 again. Freezing Cold, from 80% to 70%. Ring of Frost, movement speed, again, 65 to 50%. Snowdrift, movement speed, from 70 to 50%. I thought we were going to remove some roots maybe, but I didn't see that happening. I mean, I agree with the strength of slows, but the problem is too many roots as well, right? Crashing Momentum from 40 to 30%. Spirit Essence from 70 to 50. Special Delivery for Brewmaster 50 to 30% nerf. Flying Serpent Kick 70 to 50. I didn't even know that it was this strong, 70%. Strike of the Windlord Movement, again, 50 to 30%. Big nerfs. Dawnlight from 50 to 30%. Divine Hammer from 30 to 20. Judgment of Justice 30 to 20. Truth Wake 50 to 30. Priest Mindflay Insanity from 70 to 50. Idol of Cthulhu from 30 to 20. Siphon Scyflay 50 to 30. Big. Crippling Poison, this is gonna be big as well. 50 to 30. Crippling Poison Shiv 70 to 50. Big nerfs. System Shock from 90 to 70. Yo, I hated System Shock. This was broken. Pistol Shot from 30 to 20. Distracting Mirage from 60 to 50. Shaman. Snowstorm from 30 to 20%. And Befulement from 70 to 50. Earthbind Totem from 50 to 30. No one's gonna using that anyway. Thunderstorm from 40 to 30%. Honestly, that could have stayed, but whatever. Warlock. Dampening it now causes Dark Pact to decrease the amount of health it sacrifices. Okay, so this is a buff, you're telling me. Okay. Curse of Exhaustion. Movement slow reduced to 30% from 50%. This is very annoying as well. Good. Whiplash from 50 to 30%. Fell Fissure from 50 to 30%. Warrior, Pissing Howl from 70 to 50%, no one's using it anyway. Bone Shaker from 40% to 30%. Storm Destruction from 60 to 50. That's pretty not too bad. And that's it for the slows, boys. That's it for the slows. Honestly, I'm all for it. It's way too much. It's way too much. User interface and accessibility. Cooldown Manager now tracks trinkets and potions. Buff and debuff icons displayed on raid and party frames can now independent sizes and border scales. Healers can now assign a visual alerts to specific group buff spells through the group. I mean, this sounds good. Through group buff filter UI. Add a new category of short sounds to use for Cooldown Manager. Nice. Sounds from the Cooldown Manager are now available to be used for combat audio. Assist accessibility feature. Great. Ping system. You can now ping action bar and spells on the Cooldown Manager. Amazing. You can now ping certain items. You can now ping your player resources, such as health bars, to communicate that info as a chat bubble. Crazy good. This is crazy good. Ping system has now option to target the environment, only units, or both. Updated the ping macros to support ping spells or items. Added the following / command. Ping spell. Okay. Adding the ability to use / cursor target for ping macros. Using this will have the ping ignore all UI and units and explicitly attempt to ping the environment, whoever the cursor currently is. I like it. I like it. Nameplates. New options added in friendly nameplates, setting to show only the name. Use class color for names and hide realm name. Nice. For the enemy player's buff / debuffs, nameplates option big debuff is now enabled by default. Wow. Wow. Congrats, Blizz. Very good. Edit mode. Raid warnings can now be moved. Raid and party frames now support the frame settings that have been available for the uniframes. These frames can now be scaled up to 100%. Auction house filters now persist across sessions. Oh, finally. This was so annoying. In Group Finder, the refresh button no longer overlaps with the filter reset. Add-ons. Added a new API that allows add-on to display filtered sets of auras in customized ways without exposing the underlying aura information that could be used for automation. Amazing. Congrats. Very good, Blizzard. I hope it's not bugged and it works. It's big, 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 big. New UI texture file names will no longer be published to the manifestation ID, blah, 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 blah. Add-ons will still be able to use these textures, and we are informing add-on developers so we can work with them to adopt these changes. World, the Amani pass between Eversong and Zulaman should no longer dismount players. Good. Fixed several creature spawns across the entire game that could be, stack in combat. Curse of Wolatek rares do not have their loot yet. Lumber nodes are placed in the new zone. All in all, new things coming are great, I would say. Specifically, UI changes, very good. Ping changes, very good. Nerfs to slows, amazing. Now the balance changes themselves, I'm not happy with. Like the regular balance changes. Maybe for few classes it was fine. But I would say out of 13 classes, I would say maybe 3 are fine. All of them, others are, you know, either not good or just whatever, you know. So guys, thank you all for watching. It was a long one. I started watching this video as well. Thought we're gonna watch it together, but I kind of quickly given up on it. Okay. So yeah. Anyways, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.